camera. Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. Hopefully, is the mic working? Yeah, the mic's working. I think mic's working. Yeah, hopefully. Haven't seen you guys in a few days. Hopefully everything is cool in your world. You guys had a nice holiday and a solid Thanksgiving and all of that stuff. Or as our friends in Canada call it, Thursday. That's a Canadian joke. I don't know if you guys have heard that one before. Anyway, I've been doing a ton of wiring cleanup on this, and uh, also trying to set up for the MSD box. I showed you guys this before. The digital ignition box, and we talked about that a little bit last time with putting the new distributor in, or I should say, swapping out the distributor, and trying to get the wiring cleaned up so that we have nice clean wiring all throughout the car, because what this car came with was not nice clean wiring in any way, not in any way, shape, or form. From the key to the tail lights, it was rough. um, they did the absolute bare minimum. They used the wrong gauge wire, either too big, or they never went too small, but they always went too big. um, there was also, I found out yesterday, um, looking in the door panels, I noticed a bunch of small pieces of broken glass, and I'm like, "What?" And then I shone the light in there, and they'd never cleaned out the inside of the doors. There was just broken glass on both doors. So I pulled both door panels off, cleaned all that broken glass out. There's probably 4 or 5 pounds of broken glass on each side. So yeah, they didn't really give a shit on this when they were building it. They did it very quickly. Like I said, except for the fiberglass was pretty incredible, but otherwise, nothing else was good on this. So, cleaning up a bunch of the electrical, and the other thing that I wanted to take care of when I was doing this was get the power for the sniper inside the car instead of in the engine bay. I'd like it protected. Now, the sniper requires full-time power straight to the battery, and that's for memory, for firing up, for everything else. You can't have it on accessory, because technically that power gets cut off and goes straight to the starter, so you don't have power, so it can't know how much fuel to send, et cetera. That's why you have to have full-time power to it. So I should say full-time 12 volts and DC. We'll talk about, if you want to talk about AC, we can do a whole other live stream on that. Oh, who's here? Oh, hey, Liz. Yeah, if you want to talk about AC, we can do something later with AC. But fun fact, all the power that comes into your house, I don't know, you guys can kind of see it behind me, the power box right there. All of the power lines, those huge power lines you see, that those crazy guys on helicopters get off and then maintain those power lines and repair them. All of that is DC. And then it comes to the power pole and it goes to a transformer. That big gray looking beer can thing is filled with oil, and it is a transformer, and it transforms it from DC to AC and sends it to your house. So now you know. And there's a lot of DC coming through those power lines, uh, hundreds of thousands of volts. So that's how we all have power, and we have lights, and our laptop has a battery, and our phones are charged, and all that. So anyway, going back to DC, DC is a very simple system, and it's it's very reliable. It's kind of a one in, one out sort of thing. Whereas AC can vary. You can change voltage on AC and get different things. You can do that on DC too, but you're going to have different results. So DC is very simple, and it's also very portable, which is very nice. That's where the other crazy part comes in. Your alternator, they call it a generator because it's technically making AC, goes through a rectifier to change it to DC to give it to your car. So AC and DC do party together, That is not a band joke. That is a real thing. They do they do play together, but usually they don't play well together. They need some serious supervision, like a rectifier or a big ass oil filled transformer. You know, they need supervision if they're going to play together. So thankfully on cars, most of it is DC. And on modern vehicles, I would say from the when did they switch over to 12 volts? I think in the 40s, late 30s, early 40s. It might have been later than that. It might have been late 40s. Cars are 12-volt DC. Production cars are. There's now you get into commercial vehicles, you can run 24 volts. Diesel is a different story. It uses different types of power, so you're going to run two batteries. And then you get into like mining trucks and stuff, but those are also technically those are a hybrid. It's a diesel generator, and those big mining trucks have electric motors. So it's like a Fisker Karma, just carries a lot of coal. Um, so most production cars are going to be 12-volt DC. Now, the cool part is you have big ass batteries, like the one over here. I was going to turn on the light for you guys. So we have big ass batteries like this that store a ton of power, and we can constantly charge them up. Now, this is where you get into amps, volts, all of that stuff. That battery is 650 or 670 cold cranking amps, and that's what it can put out. It can absolutely juice that starter, keep going and keep going, and run that starter over and over so the engine starts. But it's 12 volts, so that's the voltage, the current that it's sending. But it can send it through a really big pipe, so or a little tiny pipe, depending on what you need it for. So depending on if it's a starter or if it's a switch for an LED light bar, you're still going to get 12 volts. Just your amperage is going to be what you're, you know, what you're controlling. And so you have this big battery that has a whole bunch of amperage available to it. You have an alternator that's charging that battery, which is a good thing, or a generator if you really want to call it that. And now you have a ton of power available, but you're going to need more power because in a car like this, this car will eventually have four batteries in it, one in each corner. And the batteries are, I'll just give you the layout of the batteries. The one that's currently hooked up is for engine only. The one that's going right here, there is actually a battery tray here because you could get these cars with a diesel. So there's a battery tray right here. And this will run audio, video, and the electronics in the car. In the, let's see, back right corner is we did all the power distribution center. So a lot of our the door poppers and the license plate up and down. It's also going to power the inverter, which is the heater and pump for the hot tub. The battery in the driver's side corner in the left side rear is going to be for the air system. And that way the air compressors will have a dedicated battery and we won't be all the way on the ground. We'll always have battery for that. Now, the trick with this car is setting up four batteries, how to keep them charged, how to keep them apart so we don't do a whole bunch of welding. Accidental welding is bad. So what the plan that I laid out for this car is you can do it however you want to. You can do it in your vehicle. You can do left to right, or you can do front to back, or you can cross them over, however you want to do it. Some people use setups like this for RVs. So you have DC power for whatever in your RV. You can have a bunch of batteries and they're charged by the generator from your engine. And then when you're camping and whatnot, you still have DC power. So that's where, DC is very handy. DC also likes to be charged by a variety of different sources. So you can do solar, you can do a hand crank like generator, but just by hand. There's a lot of different ways to charge DC very easily. So that's why with this car, we'll run two alternators, but four batteries. And the alternators are going to work down the sides of the car. So that alternator that's 140 amp alternator, or a 120 amp alternator. There's a 140 amp alternator that's going there. This one will come over to this side. That alternator runs the passenger side of the vehicle, those two batteries. This alternator runs the two batteries on this side. Now, how do you keep those batteries separate? Because if you wire them together, you're going to have 24 volts, or depending on if you wire series or parallel, you want to be able to use those batteries at all times. That one for the air system, this one for the lights and electronics, that one for the engine, the other one for the hot tub components. So you want to be able to run those all the time. You don't want to have to go back and switch over to the other battery or switch back to this one, or God forbid, unhook one, bring it all the way up here, unhook this guy, hook him back up. And then when it's time to go, you have to unhook this, put him in the back, hook that one back up. It's a huge pain in the ass. So the way to do this is with a battery isolator. And there's a lot of different battery isolators out there. And all they do is they're kind of like a gatekeeper. I know we're not supposed to be gatekeeping. It's 2025. We're not supposed to be doing that shit. But when it comes to electricity, gatekeeping is good. Trust me. Unless you're, hardcore arc welder, and then they're like, "Give me the juice." They don't care. They're like, "Yeah, more. You've got another 80 amps. I'll take it." So the cool part is these isolators keep everything at 12 volts, and they keep everything separate. So if for some reason that battery dies back there, this battery's still good. Or depending on the isolator you get, if this battery dies for some reason, you can actually use the battery all the way back there for this stuff. So that'll be handy if for some reason the air compressor battery dies. I can use the battery up here to power up the air compressor components and raise the car. Um, Same thing sort of in the back. Now, here is where it gets fun because we have a lot of kick-ass new technology, including lithium ion batteries, which are fantastic. They're super lightweight. Eventually, this car will probably have it. Where do you put the lithium ion batteries? Because they need to be charged differently than regular, you know, uh, flooded or AGM batteries. Like this is an AGM. AGM stands for absorptive glass mat, which is a different type of way of storing energy. And AGM's great because you can kind of shake it and beat it up, and it doesn't really hurt much. It can also get recharged a whole bunch more than a flooded. So they're really nice. AGM's the way to go until you get to lithium. Lithium batteries are coming down in price slowly but surely. They're getting their shit together with all of those, and eventually they'll become kind of the standard for cars. And they have to be charged a little bit differently. Now, this battery, flooded or an AGM, is um, it kind of has a limit to how much charging it can take. And when it reaches that limit, it'll do a couple of different things. That's why you have maintainers on stuff. So when it reaches that limit, it will get hot and the body of the battery will start to expand. You see this a lot in flooded cells. Um, when they get overcharged, they can expand and they can blow up. So you have to be kind of careful. You don't want to do that. Now, if you have a lithium ion battery, they'll take all the charge they want. They know how to handle it. They'll take it. They'll take it all day. Charge. They're not going to expand. They're not going to get hot. They love being charged. Send them voltage. They'll be okay. That's the nature of the chemical composition inside there. They love being charged. So if you're going to do this, definitely double check. Someone else has done it too, so double check with them. Definitely don't take my word as gospel because I'm still testing stuff out here. But from everything I've read and all my research, if you have the battery in the second position, not the primary, if you have it in the second part of the isolator, like after the isolator, you'll be okay with a lithium ion battery as the second battery. If you have it as the first, it's going to be difficult for it to charge that second one because it's going to want to suck all of the voltage. It's like, keep giving me voltage. It won't ever trip the isolator to send voltage to the battery in the back. So that's where your battery in the back would probably be dead, but your lithium ion would be okay. So in theory, again, go check it out and double check everything. Google it, chat GPT it, all that stuff. But from everything that I've read and figured out, that lithium ion's okay to be the second battery. So there are dedicated isolators and maintainers for lithium ion batteries. Noco makes awesome maintainers that'll do flooded AGM lithium, and they're about 50 bucks. You can pick which type of battery you got. I have them for the motorcycles, I have them for the cars. I have their boost boxes. So those guys make really, really good stuff. Highly recommended. They don't pay me a dime. So if you do that, that's a great way to charge them too. If you're not going to do an isolator, just you can use a regular charger. Now in this car, we'll have a different charging, offline charging system. So it'll be one plug, just an extension cord plugs in the back, and then a NOCO system will charge all the batteries. Um, Once all the batteries are installed, we'll do it that way. Again, trying to clean up wiring, not complicate wiring. And the other thing is I don't want to be somewhere and the car doesn't start because the engine battery's dead and the hot tub battery, we've been having a great time and it drained everything from the engine battery, all of that. So that's why we have an isolator. You have a couple of different types of isolators. You have a passive and an active. And passive is very simple. It goes from the one battery to the isolator to the next battery. And when the isolator gets to a certain voltage, it starts sending voltage to the next one. There's no, it's sort of automatic. You don't really have to think about it, but it doesn't let that voltage come back. So that's why it's an isolator. So then you have an active one, like the one I'm going to show you guys, and the one I have two of them. So there's one mounted in the car. I'll show you. This one is kind of cool because it goes from the one battery to the isolator to the second battery. And then if you have an emergency and you need to start the car, it will actually act like a jumper cables. I can reach down there, press the button, and it'll pull 12 volts and however many amps from the back battery to the front battery. And you're only supposed to use it, for 20 seconds or whatever to start the car. But you do have that capability. You don't have to hook up jumper cables. You don't have to do anything like that. You just hit the button. And this one's also active in a way that it's always powered on and it's maintaining voltage between those two sources. So it's always going to try and balance between the two. If this first battery is full, it's going to keep sending. If this guy gets low, it's going to stop sending to this guy and he's going to fill this one up. When he gets full, then he's going to start sending to the second one. So that's the theory behind an active one. There's tons and tons of different isolators out there, both passive and active. MSD, Excel, Mallory, all the regular names in engine building have really great passive isolators, and they work fantastic. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. They work great, and whatever your budget calls for, if that's what fits, that's what fits. For this build, I have to use something a little different because of the massive amount of electronics in here and the massive amount of power that we're going to use. We're going to have a huge inverter in the back. I believe I want to say it's a 20,000 watt inverter, but I think it's a 15,000 watt inverter. What? What is this? No, I'm just kidding. I know exactly what it is. I just forgot about it. Also, still no truck showing up and still impossible to find in Southwest Florida. They have every other flavor. Don't have the original. So with the amount of electronics in here, I needed an active one and I needed a pair of them because I am going to have two separate charging systems, 2 alternators, 4 batteries. We're going to keep things separate as much as possible. The only common is going to be the ground, and the ground doesn't care because it's the ground. So that's the good part. The chassis is a fantastic ground, and if you need to go to the regular battery terminal foreground, you can do that as well. The other difference is a lot of the stuff on that side will be keyed. So it's going to run through the ignition harness here, when you key on, there's going to be a lot of components that key on. On this side, you're not going to have as many key on components. So that's why I wanted to keep it separate. Engine stuff gets separated from audio, video, lights. That's just how I laid it out. So I'll show you guys an isolator, and then I'll show you it installed in the car, and I'll give you a little sneak peek on what the hell's going on underneath the dash. You guys are going to be horrified. Hopefully you haven't eaten anything, because it's really gross under there. Oh, let's see that. I'll second that. Their boost box is lightweight, handheld, no problem. Yeah, my boost box is currently uncharged. I used it at Cars of Coffee. This guy had a, uh, what do you have, a 340? No, he had a 360 with a ram air, and his battery died. And I tried to jump start it, and he just kept cranking over that starter. And it turned out that he had a bunch of loose wiring, and it wouldn't crank over. And that's why. It wasn't from the NOCO, but he used a lot of the NOCO, so I have it on charge. And it was just the GB40. But the GB40 will start a diesel truck, no problem. So it should have started his car. But he got it all figured out, and the thing looked and sounded great. Actually, it looked really, really rough, but it had the correct patina, and then all of the homemade stuff on it. The fender cut side exit exhaust, and it was really cool. And the big tunnel ram out of the hood. So I'll show you guys the isolator that I have, and then you can go and you can find the right isolator for your system. It might be a simple passive one, and you can get them, stupid cheap. You can get them crazy expensive, chrome plated, all that shit. You can do these guys now. When you do the passive ones, normally they're in the engine bay. They're not a fan of heat, but they don't mind it. They usually come with rubber covers so that if they get wet, they're okay. These guys, I have room underneath. I know that sounds weird that I have room underneath the dash, but I'm going to put them, they are fairly water resistant. I could get rubber boots for them, but I'm going to put them underneath the dash, and they'll stay hidden. But they also have a little display on them that's always on. Whenever it's hooked up to 12 volts, that display is on, and it's a display of the front battery and the rear battery. So I didn't want those displays always on underneath the hood. If I tuck it up underneath, then all I have to do is look under there and see the voltage, and it'll stay. They're not super bright, and they don't pull a lot. They're not going to pull enough to cause you to no start, and you're going to be on a maintainer anyway if your car's going to sit that long. So it's sort of negligible. It's a very nice number, to have that display. It would be cool if you could switch it off. And I'm sure, I guess with the ground, if you put a switch in between the ground wire, you could turn it on and off, but it's not worth it. Just let it be. And on that side, I put some white tape over the display to dim it a little. Works fine. So this is the isolator. This is the box, and this got kind of beat the shit out of on the move down. It comes with some Chinglish instructions. This is a full blast Chinese. And I'll show you why it's full blast Chinese. Dual battery isolator protection controller manual instruction. I'm not kidding. That's really what it says. So yeah, there's a lot there. It weighs 694 grams. It is 15 by 14 by 4 centimeters. Please do not put the product under the water situation. I'm not joking. It says it right there. There's the caution. So no underwater welding with this. Voltage sensitive relay cuts in at 13.5 volts to 14.5 volts and cuts out at 16 to ensure that your main battery is charged, ready to start your vehicle. So detects the lower voltage after engine off. The isolator will disconnect after 10 minutes delaying. So it has a timer on it too. When you're not charging it and this battery isn't getting juice from the alternator, it'll time off and just cut off that other battery. which is a nice safety feature. It has a little diagram. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. If you screw this up, I cannot help you. I really cannot help you. That's hard. There's two terminals. They both get the positive. One is the front battery, one is the back. There's a ground wire. That your batteries go to ground to the chassis. That's it. There's nothing special. There's no purple wire. There's no, light green with the yellow stripe. There's none of that shit. It's two red wires. Or in my case, they're black with red heat shrink. So this is what it comes in. And this is the blue one. Now I have two of them. I have a blue one and a black one. And the reason I got the black one first, and the reason I got the blue one was because it was on sale. It was $3 cheaper. And they're hidden up under the dash. I don't give a shit what color they are. It's also good, I guess, for differentiation when you're talking to someone. Hey, is it the blue one that's on fire or is it the black one that's on fire? That'll help you tell which side of the car is on fire. So this is what it looks like. And this is actually a nice anodized aluminum case. And it does have the 4 mounting holes. So you can mount it in any direction you want. Now the switch to use it as a jumper is right there. It would be nice if it was on the face, but it's okay right there. Just the hard part is you're going to have to get your finger up and around the big ass cables that you have here. And are you sure it's Chinese, Kev? Oh yeah, it's Chinese. I promise. I don't know. Can you guys read that? There you go. Yep. So you have English on the front, and then for the connectors, you have Chinese. Okay. These guys were, what were they, 60 bucks, 80 bucks? Not too terrible. Taking off this made in China sticker, and it's actually disintegrating. Oh, it's on one of the screws. It's coming apart in 800 pieces. All right, screw that. So this one will be on our driver's side. And like I said, he'll actually go up on the wall. He'll get tucked up under the dash like that. He'll get mounted. And then which is our first battery? I think this is our main battery is the top one. Because, I speak perfect Mandarin. So main and second, 1 and 2. And they do provide the nice nuts and lock washers and pressure washers. So, and then this is your ground, and your ground goes right to your chassis. So where he's getting mounted, swing him down, ground right to your chassis. That's it. Now this, like I said, the display will light up. It'll show your main voltage, and then it says sub, but that's your second voltage. That's it. That's all there is to it, really. And like I said, if you run out, if for some reason this one doesn't start, you can use that button as a set of jumper cables. And it'll pull voltage from this battery up to this, and you only get it for, I should read the instructions. I think you only get it for 10 seconds or 20 seconds or something, so that you don't start to do welding. What did I do with my instructions? I thought I just had them. There they are. The emergency button. The emergency button is used to start the car when the main battery running out of power. Just press the emergency button to turn on the sub battery. The indicator light is steady on. Then turn off the emergency button immediately after the engine started, and the isolator will turn to normal working state. So they're actually pretty good English instructions considering. But I thought it had a timer. Also, this is a 250 amp isolator. You can get isolators in a whole bunch of different amps. Now, alternators on GM vehicles range anywhere from like 40. I think there was actually a 32 amp alternator on a Corvette a long, long time ago. Early C1, there was just barely, it was barely an alternator. And so you can go anywhere from like 30 all the way up to, like I said, the ones going on there is a 160 and a 140. I believe they have 210 now. You can get some serious alternators. And I got to get rid of this guy because he is a big boy. So hang on. Can you guys see him? It's massive. These guys creep in to the shop because they like the light and they're looking for water. There's hundreds of them in here. The downside is squish, you step on them, and then my dumb ass gets to clean them up all the time. So be free in the yard. There's a lot more food out there than there is in here. And yes, I use my little thing, scoop them on here, yank them into the yard. Yes, I can sit here and squish them all day long. Guess who's cleaning them up? Me. Even if there was someone else cleaning them up, I don't want to squish them. I don't want my floor jacked up. I jack it up enough. So anyway, um, so that's the basics on the battery isolator. And I know a lot of people get really nervous around electricity, and you should be. It can juice you. There's a lot of stuff under this hood, even when the car is off, that will turn your hair white. When the car's on, there's shit that can kill you. It will absolutely destroy your nervous system. It'll turn you off like a light switch. So, yeah, you can be afraid. When the engine's running, you grab one of those spark plug wires, touch it to your tongue, it'll turn you off. So, you have a right to be afraid. But as long as you respect that and you understand that, um, it's okay to work with gloves or bitch mittens or anything like that because you are dealing with something that is potentially deadly. So no one's going to fault you for that. If you're careful and smart, do 3 minutes of research. Most people don't even look. They just go and start grabbing shit under there. And then all of a sudden they're, you know, paramedics are there and they're trying to restart him. So be a little patient, be a little smart about it, do a little bit of research, know what you're going to cut, know what you're going to, power off. And for the love of all things holy and any supreme being you believe in, disconnect your damn battery before you start doing any kind of electronic stuff. If you disconnect your battery, do all your cool electronic stuff, go to hook the battery up, what's going to happen is your component is going to blow up, not you. So if your component blows up, okay, great. Then you get another one of those. If you blow up, you can't get another one of you. So just disconnect your battery. Do a quick release on it or whatever. Like on this car, I have 2 quick releases because for all the testing and all the wiring and redoing all that, I just have some quick releases. The full-time terminals, I showed you guys these, I think. Oh, come here. Oh, seriously? These things are meaty as hell. These are the full-time, these are the full-time terminals that are going on the car. And these will lock, starter wire and all that. And they have inserts. This goes on the terminal. These guys lock into place. We're going to do a 3D print of a cover on this. Perfect. These things are meatballs, man. These are probably 8 or 10 ounces each. Awesome. The ones, and these are not quick release. You have to, what is that, an 8 mil? And these guys don't quick release either. They're set screws, and then they have locking nuts. So right now, the quick releases that are on there are for testing because I know I'm going to hook stuff up, put it on the terminal. Okay, no sparks, nothing blew up, no fuses, no relays. Let's try it out. There you go. Great. Okay. That's why you do the quick release when you're building stuff like this. And then when it comes time to do the final build, everything gets hooked up to a box like this. Now, what I really need is just 4 of these. but this is how they come. So that's fine. I don't really mind. And with all the wiring that I cut out of the car, I can afford to have big, meaty terminals. So I'm okay with that. Um, on the positive terminal on that side, we will have starter, main power, alternator, fans, and isolators. So we'll have 5 in total. 2 of those will be together. So technically, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're only using 4. So the fans and the alternator will be on the same plug. So no, the fans, yeah, the fans and the alternator will be on the same. It's a pin. There's a pin that goes in there, and that's how you lock it down. You can do raw cable and lock it down too. I don't really like that, so I crimp on or screw on a pin. It's kind of like a car stereo component, and then that gets locked in. It's it's just one of those weird things. Anyway, you guys will see all that when it's done. So let me take you in the car. I'll show you underneath the dash, the horror show that's under there, and I'll show you the battery isolator, how it's hooked up right now. Now, obviously, the battery is off. I have the negative terminal pulled. So when we get over there, I'll hook up the terminal and you guys can see the display, and I'll try and explain how everything is rolling around. Now, again, this is all kind of a temporary setup. We haven't done any of the cleaning or anything like that. The lugs are a spare set that I had in Ohio that a buddy brought down, and I crimped them on with vice grips last night just to make sure that everything is working correctly and I'm getting 12 volts all the way back there. So let me pull you guys in here somewhere because I have to be able to sit in here too. So give me a second. No huntsman spiders. No huntsman spiders, please. See, I just stepped on something and it was one of those guys. Damn it. These guys come out of nowhere. I'm sorry, buddy. I did not see you. I can't see you guys. Does anybody know the top speed of a millipede? I'm just curious. Be free. And of course, every little tiny thing on the shop floor, I think, is a millipede now. Now it's all trauma. It's all trauma based. All right, let me see if I can wheel you guys over here. Grab a light. By the way, I did go for a very nice motorcycle ride today. It was absolutely beautiful here. All right. Let's get you guys down here. I know this is the super optimal position, right? Mm. All right, let me grab a light. Because there is none down there. Actually, I'm going to hook up the negative terminal here. So, whoops. So that we have power and it actually shows up. Oh, can you see it? I'm curious. No, not really. Okay. So this is the fun part. None of this floor is flat. None of it. So you have a little bit of a footwell here. It comes up. And then there's like a dome right here. Just a little bulge on the inside. Then it flattens out, comes to an L shape that elevates again. Then it drops down again and becomes some of the main floor. There's a couple of pokies here from the seat mount bolts. So getting in here and getting underneath and laying on this is awful. I will tell you that right now. It is incredibly not fun, not comfortable at all. So, does that light help? Yeah, now you guys can see sort of what we're doing here. Now, here's another fun one. So you can see these two wires here. These are brand new. And they came out of the engine bay and they came in through back over here behind this panel. And this is our power and ground for the Sniper, full-time power and ground, because now we have full-time power and ground right there. So on our isolator, that's where these guys can get hooked up. This is saving me from any sort of heat or anything like that in the engine bay. I still have straight full-time power. Now, instead of it hooking directly to the battery terminal, it's actually going through a 2-aught gauge wire all the way up there. It should be okay. Let's see, who else is in here? MMA and Car Addict. Pretty nice garage. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's snow cold. Me out of life for me until I can get the Jeep's fussiness figured out. Oh, Jeep things. Okay. So I'm gonna bring you guys underneath here. You're gonna shit your pants when you see this. You're gonna be like, no way. Why the hell did you buy that car? So this is our Sniper wiring. This is a ton of the original wiring. This is for things like glove box lights and door chimes and stuff like that. We actually have old school buzzer here, I believe. I don't even know what the hell that is. I don't know if that's a buzzer or a relay. Whatever it is, it's not used. So I'll get you guys underneath here. I'm going to lay down and then I'm going to grab you guys because there's no way for me to do it like the opposite way. I have to get my butt. Oh my God. This is so unnatural. This is like guys modeling, with cars. It's not a normal thing. Guys don't do that. So let me grab the camera. It's not going to be me. So there is our inverter. Whoops, come back here. Where are you going? Oh, you're just spinning around. Sorry. He just wanted to spin on his own. So there's our inverter. And you can see I taped out the display. Now, when I turn off the light, it's not incredibly bright. You can barely see that. So he's actually not terrible. And it's fine if he's on. Oh, come back here late. There we go. And so if you guys want to see some of the rest of the wiring, here's some stuff. Again, this is how they left it all. Oh my God, this is part of the fiberglass stuff. So this is all stuff that got cut up. All right, this isn't going to work. I have to get me out of here. So let me finish with the isolator and then, all right. So currently this is our main that's hooked up and it goes all the way through here up to, oh crap, I have to move, hang on. Feel like Ace Ventura. Your gun is digging into my hip. Except it's bolt on the bottom of the car. All right, let me switch around so I can see you guys. I'm sorry, it's incredibly unstable. So here's our isolator. And then You can see our main cable here, and he comes down and goes out into the engine compartment straight to the battery from there. And this is where our sniper is going to hook up to the number 1 terminal. Of course, these wires are in the way, right? Get up out of the way there. Anyway, oh my God. Do I have the skills necessary? No? You guys get to see all the framing for the fiberglass work. All right. So there, where the hell is he? Right there is our number 1. That's our main terminal. This is our number 2. And here is our cable that runs all the way to the back. And that will eventually go up to this guy. Not right now because we're not hooked up in the back and it would just start arcing on the floor. So that's the battery isolator. And here's your ground. And that is the ground on this side is actually for the door popper on this door. Why not, right? We're already using chassis ground, might as well use the screw. So that's the battery isolator. He's tucked up underneath there. Now, if you're ever wondering how fiberglass work gets done, like custom fiberglass work, let's go through the dash here. So see these like sticks? They glue these sticks together and then they put this mat. This is, where is this stuff? It's slowly degrading. It's like foam cloth. And they put that down and they use that as the frame, the basic frame for laying down like all of this fiberglass, you know, up under here and all of this stuff. That's what they use for the frame. So here is normally this is where all of your HVAC stuff would be, your blower, your heater, the vent and stuff for outside. That's where all that goes. Now we'll come over here and I'm going to aim our light a little different so we can see things. And now you guys get to see the horror show. That is the wiring that they left me. There you go. Now I have to figure out what goes where. You can see the bus bar up here that I added. And if this was flat, I can actually get my hand up in here. This is the bus bar that I added right here. And that has ignition. So that's keyed power. But that's going to have to change because obviously that's backfeeding from our alternator. So out of these wires in this big ass plug right here, I have to find out our alternator wire and completely separate it from totally separate circuit than the bus bar because right now it's on the same circuit. So that's the fun part right there. And then doing it all in this very, very tiny space really sucks. This red wire down here is me. This is the gas gauge sender wire. And that will actually go up over the steering column along the inside edge of the dash, down here towards the center console, and then it'll come out to our gauges out here. So that one's on me. The rest of it, this is how they left it, man. It's just a mess. And you can see all the stuff they cut out of there. Like I said, they just cut until the car turned off and then hooked stuff back up. So it was really, really, really bad. The turn signals, I think, still work. I got to double check those relays, but I think the turn signals still work, which is pretty cool because I found out a really cool way to do the front turn signals. Really cool. Let's see, what do we got here? Is not all wet. Oh, all wet OSB. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But laying down on the other side is just as not smooth as this side. So it's pretty difficult. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here to correct. And if you look here, you can see this. If I can, I don't know if I can grab it. This wire, this is obviously redone by them. Factories don't electrical tape wires like this. This is factory, but a lot of it got cut out. Like they just cut and cut and cut and cut. So that is the fun part. So that's why we get to do all this other fun stuff. I'm going to bring you guys back over here. And I have to get my knees. Oh my God. Oh God. If it was a smooth surface, it would be okay. But it's incredibly, incredibly not smooth. Also, don't forget to grab your light. You know how many times I've left lights back there? It's not funny. Oh yeah. Also, this is the door panel that came off. And then underneath in the bottom of the door was where all that broken glass was. It was on both doors. There was a bunch of old fiberglass and other stuff in there too. So all that stuff got vacuumed out, put in the trash, disposed of appropriately. So bring you guys out here. Make sure the cable's out of the way. Eventually, I won't have cables for any of this, which will be nice. But yeah, you can see I have all the electronic stuff out. To do the connectors, I had to drive all around town today to get connectors. But like I said, it's a nice day to be on the motorcycle. So that was fun. It's all filthy up here. Ugh. All right. Better. Oh, yeah. Oh, that was weird. Wrong pipe. And I don't close the doors all the way because that way I don't have to use the poppers. Even though the batteries are all charged and everything, I'm trying to save them a little bit. Get you guys back in position here, although it's not going to stay in position. So that's kind of it with the isolator. You guys see how that thing works. And thanks for reminding me. Now, when you pull the battery terminals, like I said, I just have these quick release. It's just a cam latch right here. When you pull these, now, even though I have the positive hooked up, technically there's no juice going through there. That sounds bad. There is juice going through there, but there's no way to get it to ground. So you don't have the rest of the circuit is the best way to do that. The absolute best way is to unhook both. You have no power now going to anything unless you have a capacitor, which is going to hold charge, but that's a whole other different electronic thing. So yeah, it's a really tight compartment. And the other thing, and you guys can kind of see this. Hang on a sec. These super not strong magnets in this mic. I'm sorry, guys. I know that was loud as hell. Hang on. Get this thing. Back on here. But as soon as I pull my hand away, it falls. These magnets are not very strong. Stay there. The problem is the mic is heavy and the magnet is weak. So you really hope for the best, but it's not even close. And since the magnet's so weak, you can't slide it through the fabric. You can see how heavy that magnet is. It's just pulling down my shirt. All right, hang on. Not even close. See, normally when the magnet's strong, you can just slide the mic over, but this one, the magnet's not very strong. And then the clip inside just drops down. I think it's straight. It's obviously not straight on the shirt. Why is this so difficult? It's because this clip doesn't want to slide. Better, but still. All right, sorry, you guys. I know that was loud as hell, and I'm sorry this thing keeps, I don't know, I can't help it. It keeps falling. So anyway, I forgot what I was talking about. The isolators and getting those guys set up. Again, don't be afraid of electronics. Don't be afraid of electric stuff. Be patient with it. Do a little bit of research. If you want to, get a whiteboard or even a notebook and draw it out first. Draw out your wiring diagram. Like, I don't know. I was trying to find a good one. This is the Holley Sniper Manual, and they have a lot of really good stuff in here. Maybe they have a good, they have a lot of other diagrams. You can draw it out like this. This shouldn't be copywritten because it's all over the net, but, and it's also got Holly's name down here. So you can draw out a diagram like this, and that tells you which way things are going, where power is coming from, where you're grounding to, what needs a ground, what needs a diode, what needs a resistor, what needs a capacitor, that sort of thing. There's a couple of free websites that also help with wiring, with putting components in line. So like if you, like what I did with the license plate with the custom relays, you can draw out your own, and then you can go to this site and you can draw it out and double check yours. So if you think your relay wiring is close, but you're not sure and you don't have a way to hook it up to power, they have a thing where you can draw it out and it'll test it for you. You can hit the switch on and it'll show you how everything works. There's it's a very cool site for testing. Like if you want to test stuff at 3 o'clock in the morning, you get this great idea. You don't want to come out to the garage. You don't want to, drive all the way to the shop or whatever. You're like, I know how to do this. You can actually go to that site and you can draw it out and then hit the switch, the virtual switch, and it'll show you lights come on, lights go off, lights flash. If you do it twice, whatever you. What did I just knock over? Whatever. I don't know what that was, but whatever you're doing, it'll show it. It's actually pretty cool. If you guys want the name of it, shoot me a message. I'll look it up. I haven't used it in a while. God, it was a really cool site. Anyway, that's fun. So yeah, try not to be afraid of voltage, and definitely disconnect stuff. If you disconnect your batteries, you're going to be a lot safer. And then when you go to hook stuff up, like I said, the component that you just put on might blow up, but you're not going to. So, if that blows up, you can go get another one. That's fine. Can't get another one of you. So be a little bit careful. Just unhook the battery and do both terminals. Unhooking the ground is a great start. Unhooking both terminals, definitely the way to do it. Feel free to use bitch mittens or gloves or whatever. The more confidence you get, the better. And the more you're going to experiment and do cool shit, like what we're going to do with the headlights on here. It's not any kind of super experiment, but you start getting more adventurous in what you want to do. Instead of just like putting an LED light bar on there, I'm going to have 12 LED light bars on the front of this. So wiring that up with the different relays, how they're going to go low beam, high beam, all of that stuff. That's why you get into a site like that that helps you, shows you how to do that stuff, which is kind of cool. Um, or you can do, when you're dealing with 12 volts, you can experiment a lot by yourself, and it's not really going to hurt anything. Remember, 9-volt battery, you put it on your tongue. Yeah, it hurts. 12 volts is only 3 more volts. So it's not really too terrible. When you start getting into AC and 120 volts, 240 volts and 3-phase and shit like that, that's when you start you barbecuing humans, and that's when it gets bad. So we don't want to do that. But um, try not to be try not to be too afraid of electronics, and try, the more you do it, the more confident you get. Like, even just installing something simple like a light bar, where you have power, you have relay, you have a switch, it's in the cab. Doing something simple like that, just on and off with an accessory light, really builds confidence. And um, that's the important part, because you're like, oh, now you have success with that. Now you're going to move on to the next one. Now you're going to do a two-way light, where you hit the switch up and it only lights one light. You hit the switch down, it lights both of them. Or you have a center position that has both of them on. Whatever, you can start doing cool wiring and stuff to really like personalize something that's very normal. If it's just 2 light bars, you can really turn it into your own, um, even with just simple wiring. So try to have fun with it, and not stress too much about it. Um, the other good thing is to get a 12-volt source. And I was talking about lithium-ion batteries before. If you can get a small lithium-ion battery, it's a great practice thing. I've talked about that before, like the one that I currently have temporary in the back of the limo. That's a great practice battery because it's super lightweight. I can take it in the house, or set it up here on the bench, and wire stuff up temporarily. Does this work? Does this do what I want? I don't actually have to do it in the car and run wires under the dash and all the way down the length of the car and all that. I can just hook it up really quick. Is this due? Okay, and if this relay comes back and we ground here, that's where it gets fun, is because you can like bench test stuff, which is really nice. There's also DC power supplies. They're not terribly expensive either. Usually run at 12 or 13 volts and you'll be okay. So if you do that stuff, the more confidence you get in doing electronics, the less you stress about it. The more you're going to learn too. That's a really, really good thing. And I think that's about it for tonight. Um, yeah, yeah. So I have fun wiring because I have. Well, I showed you guys this already, but this part is already done. The part that's coming is this green and purple wire right here, which is that green and purple wire. That is getting added to the system. We're adding the MSD box. So we already have all of this done. Now we're going to add on to it, which will, with any good fortune, make the engine run better, more horsepower, more torque, more efficient, all of that. So that's the goal. That's the goal. We have it. It came with the 454 big block engine that I got in Knoxville, and looking for a place to use it. So I'm going to use it on this. And so when that wiring starts to go into place, I'll definitely bring you guys back in and go through how that MSD box hooks up with the sniper. So there's not a lot of videos on that. That it's either one way or the other, or it's one of the distributors that's either coil based, or it's the plug and play distributor from MSD, where you just plug one wire and just plug that purple and you're done. There haven't been any videos where it shows HEI distributor with MSD 6AL digital box. So with any good fortune, I'll be able to explain the wiring on that and how it hooks up to the Sniper wiring, the Sniper 1 wiring. There's a couple on the Sniper 2s, which are nice systems as well, but a lot of people have the Sniper 1s, so we'll see. We'll see if we can get that information up there for people because I haven't seen a lot of it. I've seen pretty much every other wiring setup for the MSD box except with an HEI and a Sniper 1. So if we get that out there, that would be kind of cool. I think people would appreciate it. That's about it for now. Waiting on parts. We'll do the main battery cable, the 2-aught battery cable that runs to the isolator. It'll get trimmed because it's actually about a foot, about 8 inches too long right now. And we also have, we being me, I'll show you guys what I got. I got these guys. These guys are great. They're insulated clamps, and I use them on the inside here, the fender or the wheel well cover. There's bolts for that, and these guys attach to the bolts, and they hold your wires that go up and over the fender well, away from the engine, away from the headers. And these are cheap. These are $1.99 or something, like $1 each. I could probably buy them in bulk, but I really only need 2. I need one at the front here and one at the back. So those will get used on that side. I already have them on this side. They'll get used on that side to hold that big cable over by the top of the fender well. So that's about it. I'll show you guys how to clean up cable, how to do all that stuff. We're probably going to move some of the Holly wiring, the Sniper wiring, since we now have a shorter lead going into the car. We might move some of that other stuff inside underneath the dash. We obviously have plenty of room. They cut out a whole bunch of shit, so they gave us a bunch of room. So yeah, let's see. Yeah, it'll help someone. Yeah, I hope it does. There's, I've searched around a lot and I try and find this stuff before I dig into it, and I haven't been able to find anything. So I keep looking, and it's funny. It's like the guitars. Someone's like, a buddy of mine, I'll tell that story later. It's funny, but they're like, well, I need to call in an expert, and the guy calls in an expert, and the expert's like, wow, this is kind of out of my league, but I know a dude who knows all this stuff, and let me give him a call. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you should give him a call. My phone rings, and they're all standing there wondering why my phone is ringing. So yeah, I definitely find humor in that, and I thought that would be very funny. So I'm not trying to, uh, steal anyone's thunder or anything like that. I'm just trying to teach people how to do this stuff. And what I think is very normal is apparently completely outlandish. So with any good fortune, someone can use it. Yeah. 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 I was talking with a friend on the phone about the RG Egypt, and he suggested that I take it to Pawn Stars. And I said, I think that would be a really bad idea because it's just going to be this infinite circle of calling an expert. And so, yeah, that's where it went. It was pretty funny. Um, so yeah, hopefully, what I'm really hoping is that with electronic stuff, this builds you guys up and builds your confidence up so you get into more projects. I'm also hoping that it helps you if you're building something. No one's going to build something like this, obviously. But if you're doing a car with a really kick-ass stereo system, you're gonna want a second battery. If you're doing a car with a really kick-ass air ride or hydraulic system uses a shit ton of batteries, so that's not fair. If you're doing an air system, you want to run a second battery. That's where isolators are great because The one alternator will charge both batteries. And when you have an active one like this, it'll charge them in succession. So the first battery gets charged, then the second one. And it does have that handy emergency feature, so you probably won't get stuck somewhere. Um, but also for this side, since this side won't be hooked up for the starter, I can use it to run the air system. This battery for audio, video, and lights, I just turn off the lights, run it, air up the car. Then when the car is running, it'll charge up the other battery. So it's nice to have that spare. It's that peace of mind in the back of your head that, on each side of the car, I have a spare battery. And if for some reason I have to move stuff, I can grab a battery from the back and bring it up to the front, from the back corner, bring it up to this corner, if necessary. I always have that. I have that spare. Although this car will probably have a boost box as well. It'll have a GB40 in it. So um, I think that's about it. I'm gonna grab two more of these guys because I just see them. And I know why these guys. Here you go. There's two more. They're just millipedes. They're not hurting anyone. And these guys are coming in here, number one, because of the light. Number two, because there's no water outside. So they like the concrete because they're searching for water. And it has been a big drought down here. We have not had rain in weeks. So these guys come in to the shop looking for water. The concrete has moisture in it, and the lights are very attractive. So I understand. And thankfully, those are the only bugs that come in. There's no, roaches or ants or anything else, just the millipedes. And they're pretty painless, except when I squish them. And I don't like squishing them. I'm not trying to do that shit. So that's about it for tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging in there and staying up late. I know it's a school night. And thanks to all the new subscribers. And thank you guys for the messages. I got a bunch of really cool messages from the last one regarding talking about distributor and spark and ignition and advancing timing and retarding timing and that sort of thing. So thank you guys for that. I appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And we'll do more stuff when we get into the hardcore tuning on the sniper. Again, I'm a total newbie on the sniper, but there's a shitload of information out there. Guys have gotten really good at dialing in, even the sniper one. You do the software updates, you do stuff like that. You can really, really get dialed in with this very simple system. You can go get a Holly sniper for $500 right now, which is barely more than a really nice Holly carb. So, and you have the tuning ability, you have upgrades, you have way more efficient, usually more horsepower. So, it's they're getting pretty good at it. So yeah, I'm happy to help you guys with that sort of thing. If you have questions about it, and if there's something you guys want to see, do you want to see more about the air system? Do you want to see more about synthetic oils versus conventional oils, blondes versus brunettes, whatever you guys want to see, or you have questions about, let me know. Definitely don't ask me about women. We'd be here for 6,000 years. Anyway, if you guys have a car that you want to see, whether it's any of my stuff, the Miata, the Viper, the truck, whatever, or a specific car, definitely send me a message and I'll see if I can get that car over here, or we can actually live stream from their place. And yeah, we'll try and get that accounted for. Let's see, no other messages in there. Okay, cool. Thank you guys again for hanging out on a school night. I really appreciate it. And why doesn't anyone tell me about my hair? No one. You guys don't say anything. Okay, wait, what side is it on? It's on this side. And it gets all jacked up from the carpet. And then do you guys just sit there and laugh at it? Do you have like a group message and you're like, check out his hair? All right, that's it. I'm just gonna cut it all off. I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. So yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, especially on a school night. I really appreciate it. Uh, if It looked great. No, it did not. um, if you guys have any questions, comments, whatever, put them below. I'm trying to get better at updating, replying to all those, but I don't get the notifications. So I have to come back in after doing this and get the notifications and reply to your messages. So I'll keep doing that. Uh, Catty yoga hair. I don't know what that is. Um, let's see. Yeah, so we'll come back when we have, uh, let's see, we'll get this other isolator mounted just so he's ready to go when the battery and cables come in. Another pro tip for battery cables, you can actually use welding cable. Welding cable is great. And for battery cables, be very careful. There's two different types of the large aught cable. Aught stands for zero, so it'll be like 2/0. So it'll be 2 aught. And that's how they're called. And the smaller the number, the bigger the gauge. So um, except when you get into other wiring, then the bigger the number, the smaller gauge. American wire gauge makes no sense. Anyway, so you need to be careful when you're looking for cable. You will see copper clad. If it says copper clad, that means the wire is not all copper. It's actually aluminum and it has a copper, it's like dipped in copper, like a copper coating. If you can, it's probably 3 times the price. Get true copper wire. It transfers electricity much, 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 much better. It's more susceptible to corrosion, of course, because it's copper. It's also more likely to get stolen if you have an air conditioner or whatever. But the advantages of copper clad aluminum is it's super cheap and it's very plentiful. So, and you also have a lower corrosion factor. So there's drawbacks and benefits to both. So if you can get pure braided copper or stranded copper wire, welding wire is really good for that, and you can get that at a pretty decent price. Just make sure you get a big enough gauge. The longer the run, the bigger the gauge. Shorter the run, the smaller the gauge. That's the easy way to do it. So if, I'm going from this battery to the isolator, I can run 4 aught. I'll probably run 2 aught. And then from here all the way back, I'm going to need to run a larger. So I'll probably run a 1 aught and run that all the way back. Just the longer the distance, the more you need. Rewire. Rewiring and installing the radio and the Miata should be pretty easy. There's a lot of plug and play harness adapter kits for Miata stuff. So if you can, look for those. They're that way. It's like 3 plugs. Left speaker, right speaker, main. Or I think it's power, lights, and then main. Then it does all your speakers and amplifiers and stuff. So definitely look for those for the Miata. Something like this, no. Although all the stereo wiring is still in here, it's been cut and it's not worth it. Stereo wiring, again, 12 volts. You're looking at between, I guess, 18 and maybe 12 gauge wire for power. So you're using very small wires and you're using very short runs of wire. So you'll be okay there. When you're using hundreds of amps, you want a bigger, fatter cable. Just make sure you pick the one that's correct for you. Copper clad aluminum or straight copper. And you can tell it, sometimes you don't even have to read the description. You can see the price. 20 feet of copper is $300. 20 feet of aluminum, copper clad aluminum is $20. So you'll be able to tell just by looking at the price which one is real copper. But yeah, try to get the best components available. I know there's budgets for everyone, but try to get the best components available. It makes things run better longer. So you're going to pay for it once or you're going to pay for it 3 times, your call. What does Hammond say? Buy once, cry once. Yeah, he's got too much Milwaukee shit. Um, anyway, that's it for tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Unfortunately, I'm going to go crawl back under the car or crawl back under the dash. I'd rather crawl under the car. I'm gonna go crawl under the dash and get that Holly hooked up, and then we'll do some tuning tomorrow. And waiting on parts that'll be here on Tuesday. We're gonna do some vacuum lines. I don't know why I keep doing this because I'm reversed. Well, I'm forward on that, but we do vacuum lines on this, the new brake booster and the PCV vacuum lines. So I'll show you guys how those go in the Sniper, and those parts will be here on Tuesday. So I'll probably catch you guys on Tuesday. I'm going to do a ton of wiring cleanup just because I'm so embarrassed of all that shit underneath the dash. You guys saw it. It's gross. We'll see how much of that stuff we can clean up and how much we can get rid of just because it's not really necessary anymore. They've done so much damage under that dash. It's just what's going to happen is something's going to be ignition powered. It's going to short out on something and it's going to cause a fire. So it's better to, since they've already destroyed it, cut it out, right? Don't risk it or get it covered up, get some heat shrink on it or electrical tape and heat shrink, or just cut it out. Pin out, baby. Easy way to do it. So, thank you guys again for hanging out. Thanks to all the new subscribers. Thanks for all the messages. And I will catch you guys. If Amazon shows tomorrow, we'll do it tomorrow night. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys on Tuesday and we'll do some cool engine based stuff. And I think that's it. Don't forget to show someone that you love them today. Give them a kiss on the cheek, give them a kiss on the tip of their nose, hold their hand, give it a squeeze. It's really important for them, but it is far more important for you. All right. Thanks, everyone. I will catch you later. Cool. Under the dash. Oh, here we go.